Hey everyone, my name is Iridescent. I want to share some things about what my testimony, my full testimony, my written testimony was since I got kicked out early and wasn't given very much time to speak. So I wanted to share that with you all. And before I started, because I know there's probably going to be some people who don't like me who are going to watch this video. Hi, I used to be a teacher. I actually moved into higher ed because I knew I wanted to come out because of shitheads like you. Something else I wanted to continue to say is I actually have 2 degrees, and both are in education. I have a master's degree as well. So to those of you out there saying that I haven't done anything with my life, I currently have a full-time job while also managing y'all's hate at the same time. Anyway, so I'm going to share my testimony with you all. So I'm just going to read it, and if y'all have any questions or how to submit testimony, please reach out to me. I would be happy to help in that process. So, good afternoon. My name is Iridescent Riffle, co-chair of Equality Kansas, Douglas County. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm here to speak in opposition to HB2791, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak. I appeared before the legislature last year to discuss the impacts of other legislation targeting the transgender community, specifically transgender and gender nonconforming kids. I urge the Committee on Health and Human Services to vote against HB 2792. I urge committee members to listen to medical professionals and queer and transgender resource organizations, not hate groups which have been allowed to speak before the legislature, often many of which do not originate within the state of Kansas. These groups have historically shared a lot of misinformation about our community, as they did yesterday or a few days ago. And also about our medical care with the intent of stripping us of our rights and our ability to live freely and authentically. I've brought with me today a binder of studies regarding gender-affirming care, its efficacy, and supporting statements from every major medical organization in the United States. I did hold it up, and I've also been told that some senators are wanting copies of it. If they would like that, please let me know. I'll be happy to find all those studies and send them your way. It's not too hard to find. As an elected official, I believe you have access to a staff who can help you using an internet search engine if you do not know how to. Today I want to speak about the consequences of legislation such as HB 2791 and HB 2792. When legislation like this is proposed, it has outside consequences even if the legislation itself does not become law. When our identities are put up for debate, it removes us from our humanity. Our very existence is framed as something that is optional or chosen, and it's this very debate that has led to mass misinformation regarding our identities and has led to our demonization. Such debates push hate and violence towards our community. This year, I've lost a trans friend to violence because of her identity. When I appeared before the legislature last year, I spoke of Brianna Gay, a teenager who was stabbed to death by her peers who were emboldened by anti-trans legislation and misinformation regarding her identity. I hoped that such violence would stop then. Shortly after Trans Day of Remembrance last November, I lost a friend and fellow organizer after she was shot and killed for being trans. In the week of 2023, Amber Minor was shot and killed in Raytown, Missouri because of her trans identity. Then a little over 2 weeks ago, Next Benedict, a 16-year-old Two-Spirit Choctaw teenager, was beaten inside a bathroom at Owasso High School in Owasso, Oklahoma by several of their peers. Next succumbed to sustained injuries and tragically died. The violence that Next faced was perpetuated through anti-trans legislation in Oklahoma and nationwide. Next was bullied relentlessly in the months and years leading up to their deaths. Shaya Rychik, the account owner of Libs of TikTok, who has encouraged her following to send death threats and bomb threats to children's hospitals and their staff, libraries, and school district, has been appointed to the Oklahoma Library Media Advisory Committee, despite not even being a resident of Oklahoma. Rychik primary targets through her social media terrorism, and she proudly calls herself, or has in the past, a stochastic terrorist on Twitter, and even changed her Twitter wall to include her logo inside of bombs after several bomb threats were linked to her social media posts. Rychik targeted the very school district where Next went to school, even targeting LGBTQ supportive teacher in months prior, leading to the teacher being fired after a social media hellstorm targeted the school district and the teacher received death threats. After news broke about Next's death, Rychik, now a government official, mocked Next on Twitter and later stated that transgenderism needs to be eradicated. This is why I'm calling y'all fascists. Who else has openly discussed the eradication of marginalized groups of people in the past? We fought a world war over this. We as a country need to steer as far away from fascism as we can, but we are currently barreling towards becoming the evil we fought against in World War II. Tom Woods, an Oklahoma state senator, referred to the LGBTQI community as filth after being asked a question regarding Nex's death. Oklahoma State Superintendent Ryan Walters made a post shortly after the news of Nex's death and focused on ending wokeness. Nex's ability to live freely and safely isn't woke. It's a basic human right and need. I have personally experienced what it is like to be targeted for my identity. I know what it is like to have someone like Shia Reichik target me. I've been targeted by a neo-Nazi website known as Kiwi Farms, which docks my personal information, my partner's address, my parents' phone number. Kiwi Farms also then sent threatening voicemails to my father and had begun sending me death threats on Twitter. They also signed me up for mail I did not want to receive to show that they knew my address. And I had to get placed on a no swatting list so I would not wake up to the barrel of a police officer's gun pointed at my face, all because I choose to live my life authentically. I was stalked for about 4 months in Lawrence because they shared out my license plate. And then just this year, there's an official party stance to ban gay marriage in the state of Kansas. Do you know how it feels to live like this? More importantly, do you even care? This last weekend, I attended and spoke at a vigil for Nex here in Lawrence. Lawrence, a supposedly blue bastion of Kansas, is still home to homophobic and transphobic hate. As we were walking to the vigil, several drivers passed by, rolled down their window, and yelled, "You're all," censoring myself there because it was the F slur, at a vigil for a non-binary teen who had been beaten to death by their peers. Would you want this to happen to your own children? Would you shrug, turn your eye, close your ears, and pass laws that make them the target of hate and violence too? I've shared 16 pages of testimony for a similar bill, also heard today in committee, sharing resources, studies, and statements from experts telling you why legislation like this is a bad idea. You have it in your written testimony. Taking away this care will make the world a much worse place for trans and non-binary youth who are already the focus of hate and violence. You could have ended this cycle. All it takes is love and a vote to protect trans and non-binary youth. This bullying is leading to the death of our children. You're an adult. You can make the decision to help trans and non-binary youth, or you can join in on the violence. A vote in favor of HB2792 could be the very reason a queer trans child chooses to end their life. A vote in favor of HB2792 will condemn trans and non-binary kids to death. Should you vote in favor of HB2792, please know that their blood is on your hands. And I mean that wholeheartedly. Thank you for your time and your attention, and I'm happy to stand for questions at the appropriate time. That was what I wrote. I also provided 16 pages reading through 12 sources that I had gotten through. I had a total of 41 sources that I had read through abstracts and read through conclusions that I hadn't gotten typed up yet. From every medical organization in the United States stating their support in the efficacy of gender-affirming care. We cannot open your eyes or force you to actually read what science says. And right now, we are hoping that should you want to vote for stuff like this, you not listen to misinformation that is being shared by Jamie Reed and Shia Reichik and other anti-trans activists. Because their goal and the people they work for and who they're being paid by to fly across the country wants to end public my ability to just walk out as I am publicly and to have that recognized. They want to, as they state, they want transgenderism to be eradicated. That's straight up genocidal rhetoric, and I know that you know that. So you really have the choice now, a moral choice, to decide, am I going to continue down the path that we read about growing up, learning about the Holocaust? Am I going to continue going down that path, being a decision maker, being the coward that you read about the very cowards who went along with Hitler? Are you going to continue in that path? Or are you going to actually try to make the world a better place? Take it from someone who is actually impacted by this legislation. And please, Chair Landwehr, if you could start running your committee hearings, fairly and equitable, that would be nice. There's this thing called, the First Amendment, as well as viewpoint discrimination. The way you ran that hearing was blatant viewpoint discrimination. And if that's a lawsuit that you want to have on your hands, that is a decision for you to make. But I urge you in the future not to. Thank you for your time, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.